What's going on, everyone? John Hendricks here for Saints News Network, coming at you with another recap for Saints training camp. Day 13, if you can already believe it, has already come and gone. Now we have one more practice on Friday. It's going to be in the Superdome, and then we've got the walkthrough on Saturday, and then Sunday, actual football, preseason football, when the Chiefs come to town for a noon kickoff. Super excited. Everybody's ready. I think there's a lot of things that we're looking forward to this game, plenty of them. Obviously, before we get too much into practice, we want to talk about our sponsor today, Justin Burgess of Ben Pro, for producing today's show, is sponsoring, been with us through training camp. Look, he's done a great job. And if you are a business that's in the greater New Orleans region, give Justin Burgess a call at 504-888-8038. He will help you with all your health insurance and employee benefit needs for your business. Justin Burgess of Ben Pro. So let's talk more about football. Some of the things that we saw today, let's just start with the attendance, right? Because that's probably the most important thing. So only new absences that we'd say is Tyrann Mathieu and Cam Jordan. Both were not at practice. Now, I believe those were most likely a veteran rest day. Look, Cam's had a few more of those. Same thing with Tyrann. He just had one, I think, a few days ago, day 10, if my math is mathing. So, look, I don't think this is really a big surprise or something to deal with. A couple of injuries to report from today. Kirk Merritt was dealing with some hamstring tightness. He left practice early. It's the same hamstring problem that was hindering him a little bit early, so we'll keep tabs on him. And then Lonnie Johnson Jr., he banged knees with somebody and also was dealing with some cramping. Dennis Allen said after practice, nothing serious is believed on that front, so we'll keep an eye out on those. Demario Davis still remains out. Andres Pete still out. Traquan Smith, Rashid Shaheed. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The tight end room's a little bit thinner, with no Lucas Kroll and Jesse James there. But, the team, it's reported that they worked out, Jalen Smith today. And so that's an area that's needed, right? And so linebacker depth is important. They had Anthony Barr in for a workout recently. And so we've kind of talked a little bit about it. Zach Vaughn seems to be a little bit more of a liability in pass coverage right now. And so, look, no DeMario, you need to make this thing work. Hopefully he's nothing serious with him. And we've seen him around the facility, seen him working out off the side, after practice and such. So that's encouraging. As far as practice goes, look, of course, Saints.media, si.com/NFL/Saints to get the full recap. It was almost 2,400 words today. There's a lot of stuff. And, some people are like, I didn't get too much out of practice. And look, I get that because it was kind of lethargic a little bit at first, but we did get some good action in one-on-ones, some stuff in the red zone, and then team was kind of like, yeah, and until like the very end when we had two back-to-back really good plays and such. But so for starters, what I would say, some big takeaways. I said this, I tweeted it. Buy Chris Olave stock. This guy looks outstanding. I think he's in for a better year than what he had as a rookie. I think that when it's all said and done, he's definitely going to be number one as far as the receiving threats in the Saints stat line. I think that he's going to finish with a strong, respectable stat line. I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I am buying Chris Olave stock like hotcakes right now. And so I think, it's one thing because we already know he's a strong route runner. He bulked up in the offseason. He, put a few pounds on, about 5 to 7 pounds, and he's worked on his contested catches. But his route running, it doesn't matter what route he runs, if it's a hitch, a pivot, a seam, whatever, an out route. The guy runs such a smooth route, and it's so hard for the opposing defense, right? And so we saw that on display in one-on-ones, and I get it. One-on-ones, they cater to the offense. But the way some of the throws Derek Carr made and some of the things that Chris Olave just was able to get, fade routes, perfect, throwing dimes in there. And Olave's right there for the catch. I mean, this is just something that we've seen. He's been good in team. He's been good in 7-on-7. Look, next to Marshawn Lattimore, and I've said this on here, Marshawn Lattimore and Chris Olave got to be your two top guys. If you're picking on one on offense, one on defense, it's Olave for offense, and it's Marshawn Lattimore for the defense, who just looked out of this world this training camp. And so hopefully he can keep it going. It's going to be interesting to see how they work in the preseason. We've given our thoughts. It's been reported 15 snaps. I think it's at least one series. It will be good for the offense. Like if they go on a 10, 12 play drive and put a touchdown on the board, I've seen enough, right? I don't need to see those guys more second string. It'll be interesting to see how those work. And, I checked back a little bit in the preseason action. we had one game that was a lot of Ian Book. I don't know if we'll see that too much from Jake Haener. Probably a good bit of Jameis Winston. I don't know if we'll see Taysom Hill at the quarterback position, but a little bit of work from Derek Carr, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes. But first takeaway would be Chris Olave, man. Look, buy his stock. It's shooting through the moon, right? Chris Olave to the moon. That's what I like to say. I'm not going to get into my crypto stuff, but at any rate, I think that he's just going to be somebody. When you look at it, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to have a 1,200-yard season, 100-catch season. Have a few touchdowns out there, maybe 6 to 8. I just think that the gel and connection is working with Derek Carr, and it's only going to get better. So I think he's easily going to be the top target in this offense, and until for the foreseeable future. Things could obviously change, but I feel really good about Chris Olave going into this season. So as far as other things go, look, one other omission, if you will. For Will Lutz, I had shorted him 3 field goals that he made. So hashtag hat tip to Todd Graffinini, covers the Saints as well for the team. And so we're at 44 or 47 for the year. Blake Grupe, we've got him at 33 of 36 for training camp. I think I might have said for the year, but it's actually during training camp. So, but look, he's looked good, and nobody kicked today, so we don't have any other totals to get just for that. But other than that, I think Brian Edwards is a guy that we've kind of talked about. I put my list together of players that just kind of needed to show something, not necessarily say stock down or jump on him, but Bond was one of them because of his pass coverage. I think he's a liability. Brian Edwards was one just because nothing was going his way, right? But today he had a really good day, had some good reps in team, good reps in one-on-one. This is the type of player we expected to see a little bit more of. Maybe it's one of those that's turning the lights on a little bit more and is going to get a little bit better as preseason comes up. He's somebody that needs to have a good camp. Back half of the camp, right, is what I would say. Not necessarily first half. You can make of it what you will. Back half, he's the one that needs to really turn it on. And they all have big opportunities because Rashid Shaheed and Traquan Smith are out with groin injuries. So it's anybody's for the taking. I really think A.T. Perry's playing with a lot more confidence. James Washington, it's been a little bit inconsistent. Again, I still think Keith Kirkwood has got a spot on this team right now. I know they could probably cut him at the final roster and bring him on the practice squad, but I feel like the way he's playing and his mindset, just everything he's doing, I get it. It's not maybe the sexiest, flashiest name, but he's been consistent. He's looked good, and he knows what's expected in this offense. So I really think that he has an opportunity here. Some other things that I was really encouraged by seeing is the run defense, run support. So we've talked about it, but Malcolm Roach, Brian Bresee for the second straight day, he's looked really good. Colin Saunders tipping passes at the line of scrimmage. I think, and Nathan Shepard getting in the backfield. I mean, it's a group collective effort, but I've really liked what I've seen from this interior pass rush, and I've liked what I've seen from the defensive line. Just they're quicker. They look like they shed some weight. Peyton Turner's playing with a ton of confidence. So is Carl Granderson. So those are plenty of the guys. Just that whole entire defensive line group are the ones that I'm paying attention, honing in on when the Chiefs come to town, right? And so I think it'll be a good testament of where they may be. And of course, it's going to be one preseason game because it's a double-edged sword. We put the pressure on them, and then they come out and lay a goose egg or just don't look good. They're like, what are you guys seeing? So I don't know if I'm going to put everything that happens in the first preseason game and take that as the gospel, if you will. But, I've been encouraged by what we've seen in the run department, run game. As far as some other things in team, one of the things that point out, I said is kind of lethargic. Again, if you like run stops, good run defense, that segment was kind of for you. Had a little bit of a crazy scenario when we did team in red zone. Just some off stuff that we've seen. But look, Kiki Kuti caught a good touchdown in the red zone. Same thing with Foster Moreau. Something underneath from Jake Haener. He had 2 touchdown passes in his drills, but he also got picked off at the end of team by Jerron Cage, actually. So that was a tough one because what ended up happening is he was going to pass, and he was rolling flushed right. And so he's just kind of one of those desperation throws. Kendre Miller goes up, tries to get a little bit of it, tips off his hands into the breadbasket for Jerron Cage. He has a pick. That was one of them on the day. The other one was a pick by Smoke Monday earlier. And so on the play, it was intended for James Washington. It's a deep right shot. And, look, Washington was held on the route by Adrian Fry, so tough to say that would actually count. But Smoke Monday, another interception. This is a guy that's a fan favorite. People have asked about him. Another play. I mean, you look at it, the safety group, it's wide open, right? I think Jordan Howland's kind of distanced himself as to being that guy who steps in as the third safety. But some of these other ones, you want to see how they did in preseason. And Smoke Monday, he's coming off that ACL injury, so maybe we can see a little bit more from him to help us out. But look, I tell you, the play of the day, it came with Haener as part of those 2 touchdowns he threw at the end. But it was a weird sequence because Haener is under a little bit of duress. He goes left, throws the ball, is underthrown. Ty Summers is in pretty much, it seemed like pretty good coverage to make it, especially to positioning to make it a pick. And so what ended up happening there is he ended up going for the pick, and somehow – like it's going to the ground and it pops up to Foster Moreau and gets a touchdown out of it. I mean, between that and the Cage pick, those are probably the 2 highlights of the day, and the Chris Olave stuff. I mean, this guy he's nasty on these one-on-ones, fade routes, all the things that he did today. And of course, check out saints.media or si.com/NFL/Saints for all the notes and observations from today. You'll get everything that you need to know: the yardage, the situation, the scenario, the who, the what, all that type of stuff. Check it out. I appreciate all the support. And also, I've got a little survey going on Twitter. If you could do me a solid, and I'm doing some research, so give me some feedback based off that. So no hard feelings either way. But look, another good day as far as practice goes. It seems like it was a little bit lethargic in some aspects if you talk to people. There are some players that have stood out more than others. Seeing Jordan Howden play again in that top safety spot, this time with Marcus May. It's the second time in about a week that we've seen Howden get some time with the ones. And so I think he's coming along well. And like I said, they're throwing things at him to try. Before we bounce out, just some other things to pay attention to, because I know some people are like, well, you don't talk about these guys. But, Storm Norton with Ryan Ramczyk, he didn't play in top O-line. So top O-line today, Trevor Penning, James Hurst, Eric McCoy, you got Cesar Ruiz, and then you had Storm Norton on the right side. So interesting to see how he does in the preseason, because him and Landon Young, I think, are 2 tackle options at that behind Ramczyk. And look, speaking of him, he told us today that was on that management plan last year. And for those who don't understand or don't know, so typically the first day of the week, he'd have a designated rest day, right? And so we'd never see him at practice, rest day for his knee. And so it worked out because he said his knee felt great. That management plan last year is something they're going to put in place this year. So gives other players an opportunity to just kind of obviously see where they're at and see what the Saints have in that too. But Ramczyk, just not sure if he's going to play on Sunday. Of course, we'll see. We'll probably know a little bit more tomorrow during that practice in the Superdome. But other than that, what I want to point out is the second pairing, some guys to pay attention to. Lewis Kidd playing left tackle. We've talked about him. I've written about him. So the plan was for him to move to tackle, that they wanted to put on some weight and try tackle. So he's left tackle. Nick Saldiveri, he's left guard. Max Garcia's center. Calvin Throckmorton, second team right guard. And then Landon Young was second team right tackle. And Landon Young's played some guard too. So those are ones to keep an eye out for. But look, there's plenty of things to pay attention to. We'll end up breaking down some of those here on Saints News Network about the things we're excited to see. But that's going to do it for us today. Covered a good bit. Chris Olave on fire. Brian Edwards picking things up a little bit. Play of the day, that connection to Foster Moreau. And the big man, Jerron Cage, getting his pick. We'll talk at you very soon. Again, thank you to Justin Burgess of Ben Pro for producing today's show. You guys know how to find them. You've been paying attention to the ticker. If not, 504-888-8038. I'm John Hendricks for Saints News Network, signing out.